coffee in the afternoons, his fingers would brush against mine. But what had my nipples hardening against the soft cotton of my dirt-streaked tank top was his unbelievably wide back. It was bulked up with thick slabs of lickable muscle, deeply tanned from hours spent outdoors. My gaze dropped to soft, worn Levi's sitting low on his hips, cupping an ass that was meant to be squeezed, and often. But if what people said was true, no one had ever squeezed that magnificent ass. No one had seen what he had hidden behind that straining zipper either. He swept the brush across the mare's side again and again, biceps thick as one of my thighs, bunching and rolling, dancing as he worked. I'd never seen the likes of him in my life. The man was beautiful, masculine on a whole new level, and he absolutely fascinated me. The sound that had been steadily building in my chest slid past my lips before I could stop it. The needy moan loud enough for him to hear. I spun around before he caught me staring, quickly bending to pick up the wash basket at my feet. But it was too late. I'd been caught. The rhythmic cadence of Elijah's deep voice cut off suddenly, followed by the crunch of gravel under his boots as he spun around. He didn't say anything. He rarely did, not to me. Besides the please and thank yous he quietly rasped whenever I brought him food or drink. Otherwise, he kept to himself. Had done so since he started working here 12 months ago. I shivered again, that familiar zip of electricity shooting across my shoulders and down my spine. His eyes were on me. He had beautiful eyes, wide and thickly lashed. They were often on me, maybe as much as mine were on him. I liked it. I didn't see Eli as a monster, because if he had murdered his father when he was just a boy, like everyone said, the man had deserved it. My dad, God rest his soul, had said so many times, said Wyatt Hayes had been a mean son of a bitch, and he was surprised no one had done it before his son took a kitchen knife to him defending his mom. But the folks here were still wary of him. I'm sure people who visited Deep River thought they'd stepped back in time. The people born in our isolated backwater town generally lived and died here, and that's the way they liked it. Anyone different from them scared them. They didn't like the way Elijah rarely spoke, the way he kept himself apart. Though plenty of the women liked the way he looked just fine. I'd seen the lust-filled glances cast his way. Still, they kept their distance, would never dream of approaching him, frightened by his dark past, the gossip that surrounded him. His size and strength were intimidating, not that I'd ever seen him use them against anyone in anger. No, Elijah preferred his own company, and I didn't blame him, not when he'd only ever been subjected to the ugliest versions of everyone around him. When he wasn't busy with the ranch, he was reading or giving the sand-filled bag he'd suspended in the corner of the barn a beating. He was a mystery, and I hadn't gotten any closer to him, learned any more about him, in the 6 months since my father passed away and I took over running the ranch. Because despite the way he watched me, he sent off unmistakable don't come any closer vibes that could be felt 50 yards away. Miss Abigail? I jolted in surprise, goosebumps popping up all over my skin like an icy breeze had washed over me at the sound of his low voice edged with that delicious growl. Elijah never initiated a conversation, not when he didn't have to. His voice sounded cautious, gritty, nothing like the tone he used on my horses. My heart galloped faster as I turned on shaky legs. I plastered a smile on my face, forcing my eyes to stay above his shoulders. "Oh, hey, Eli," I said, like I hadn't been acutely aware of his quiet, dominating presence the whole time. Eli knew his job better than I did. The only time I sought him out was when I needed him to come to town and help me collect supplies. I usually just wrote what needed doing on a notepad in the barn, and he did it.